More money equals bad argument, which I absolutely agree with, by the way. I absolutely agree with. I think there's far too many people who say, yeah, well, Genshin Impact made $30 million and Limbus Company only made $1 million, which means Genshin is 30 times better than your game. No, it doesn't. It means that that game is far more predatory and it's more popular. Popular does not mean good. I'll be real, man. Did you know that more people eat at McDonald's than eat at a sushi restaurant? Does that mean McDonald's is 30 times better than the sushi? No, it absolutely doesn't. It just means more people know about it and it's more convenient. But I think we can all agree that the sushi is a superior food in mass compared to McDonald's slop. And I think that's a great example and a great analogy that I just thought of. Anyways, I'm smart. I'm better. People will be quoting that for years. Let's see what this guy has to say.
Impact still making millions despite ignoring player complaints. Why
Because the players are hopeless piggies that got attached during COVID.
did Wuthering Waves fail to surpass its revenue even though it listens to players and puts in way more effort? This
Because Genshin had more of a market to spend on advertising because they got a huge burst from COVID and Wuthering Waves did not get that boost.
does this mean content creators are wrong about Genshin?
No, it means the community's fucking retarded about what deems a successful game.
And was Wuthering Waves just overhyped? Let's
No, that doesn't even make any sense. Wuthering Waves is delivered on all fronts. If you put these games in front of an actual professional reviewer, they would agree in spades. Genshin Impact is at max a 6 or a 7. Wuthering Waves is easily an 8.5 or 9.
break it all down using real data. Got your revenue. Oh, and before we start, the Eminence Shadow RPG isn't even on the list. So, obviously, this data is 100% unbiased.
I saw a huge ass. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but that was cool.
For reference, the game should be ranked 89th, or if we count the JP server, around 58. Now,
Really?
let's check out the
Interesting.
numbers. Genshin Impact is ranked 6th with an estimated revenue of $27 million for the month. Wuthering Waves is ranked 12th, pulling in 13 millions for the month. At first glance, the difference is huge, right? You might be thinking,
You know what's crazy? Seeing them that close is actually shocking. How Genshin Impact is barely making double the money of WoWa, despite how much they dump into advertising every month and how much of a huge advantage they had due to COVID. That actually is insane. Like, that really doesn't spell anything good for the future of that game.
see, those content creators were just doomposting Genshin and overhyping Wuthering Waves, and that's where most people stop thinking. But hold on, let's go deeper. Revenue
Sure.
is one thing, but what about the actual number of players? There's a site called ActivePlayers.io that estimates the monthly active players for games.
Okay.
It's not 100% accurate, but it gives us a good general idea.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this website. I don't know how valid it is.
Genshin Impact has a 59 million active players in February across all platforms. If we assume 50% are more,
59 million average monthly players. Okay, so I want these people to make this make sense. So it says in the last month, there was 58 million monthly average players. Then how come right here for its all-time peak, it says there was 15 million? How does the website contradict itself immediately? That's peak concurrent. Okay, so what they're saying is the most people on at the same time are 15 million. But then over the course of a month, 58 million players logged in. Well, then that's not average concurrent players. That's how many people logged in during the month. That's way different. Logging in once is way different than your active viewer base. Well, it doesn't say concurrent. Yeah, I just thought it was presented that way. Maybe I'm wrong.
accurate, but it gives us a good general idea. Genshin Impact has a 59 million active players in February across all platforms.
Yeah, I think it's because he said active players. I wouldn't describe as the people who log in to get their daily bonuses and to pull the new unit as an active player. Now, sure, can I believe that 59 people logged in to claim the rewards? Sure, I can believe that. But it's because I thought this was being presented as that's how many people are playing right now.
If we assume 50% are more,
Like what an active player base would be is like kind of like the Steam DB chart, where it shows you like 7,000 people are logged in right now. I can actually show that right now. Let me show you what would actually be a good representation on that. So here we go. So Tribe 9 Steam charts. This is a chart that would more or less show to a more accurate degree of what we're actually seeing here, right? So there's 4,399 players playing 10 minutes ago. The all-time peak is 9,600 players. This is for Tribe 9. And 5,867 at the 24-hour peak. But being able to say, oh yeah, there's 4,000 people playing right now. There's 5,000 people playing right there. Like, this would be an actual useful tool to understand how many people are actually logging on or not. But seeing who logs in after the dev live stream to pick up their 10 pull, I don't really think that's the same thing as an active playership. This website literally makes their numbers up. The only reliable source they have is Steam, and they say that everything else are just estimates full of shit. Interesting. Well, I have no idea. That's why I take all these projections and estimates with a grain of salt, because it's like, okay, where are you getting these numbers from? You see what I'm saying? Like, at least Steam is like, oh, we're Steam. We know who's logging into the game. I don't necessarily believe these numbers whatsoever.
Mobile players, that's about 29.5 million mobile players. Wuthering Waves, on the other hand, has 833,000 active players in February. So Genshin Impact has around 30 times more players than Wuthering Waves.
If you are to take this website as the truth, which I really don't know if I would do that. Me personally, I would not take that into estimation whatsoever. The numbers just don't add up. The numbers just don't add up at all.
That alone explains why Genshin makes way more money, but there's a catch. Genshin's monthly revenue used to be over $100 million for its first 3 years. Now, it's dropped by 75%. Even with a huge player base, people...
I think this is also just another massive doom post. I mean, every game obviously is going to go down a trajectory based off of how much money they make. Genshin Impact was never making consistently $100 million every single fucking month. Also, these numbers are completely based off of estimates. There's highs and lows, and also the 99 million was a massive peak for the Malvika and Sitlali banner, and the 27 million is for their standard Doom banner. So, I mean, this number is going to be doubled by next month. I think this guy is somehow doing the best job at posting the worst information in the most biased way possible against both parties. This is actually an insanely... Okay. I'm going to let the video play, but this guy's making so many assumptions, it's fucking crazy.
People are spending less. Why? Well, content creators have been talking about this for a while, but maybe you ignored them because they're just doing it for the clicks and money.
So anybody who's making that argument that negativity breeds more viewership is just wrong. Every single positive channel does better viewership for Genshin Impact than anybody being negative. And that's a fact, by the way. You can check that universally, especially among shorts. Ziox, Brand Online, all they do is just say, hundreds of thousands of views very easily. Being negative and critical of the game actually kills your channel quite a bit. However, I'd rather live in reality than live in fiction to make a couple dollars. So that narrative honestly needs to go away. However, glad-handing yes men who suck the dick of the company really like to push that shit because, well, that fits their narrative on how they're a good boy. Shut the fuck up. I will never be fraudulent for views, ever. Fuck that.
So their opinions don't matter. But what if I told you that regular players who don't make a single dollar from this are saying the exact same thing?
True.
Take Powberry and Zeno, for example. These are just regular players who voice their frustrations, and their biggest complaint? Players don't feel appreciated by the developers. Meanwhile, Wuthering Waves players do feel appreciated. That's why, despite having way fewer players, they're still loyal and willing to spend. But here's something interesting. Let's compare the download to player retention rates. Genshin Impact has over 200 million downloads and has 30 million retained players, which is around 15%. Wuthering Waves, on the other hand, has 30 million downloads and has 833,000 retained players, which is only around 4%. Genshin clearly wins in player retention in mobile, and that's mostly due to better mobile optimization and more casual gameplay that...
This entire video is based off of estimations that cannot be proven in any way, shape, or form. The amount of stretch logic is actually fucking insane. And I think it is very dangerous to make a video like that and say, yes, these estimations are factually correct. It actually is wild. Yeah. Well, there was an opportunity to talk about why your game makes more money, which means it better, which is just a false argument, but I do think people like that definitely don't really know what they're talking about. But I do think, all things considered, with how much smaller their player base is of Wuthering Waves, with how much it is making, I do think that is a sign of what good things to come, as well as another great key factor, which is the longer Genshin goes, the less it's making, which is normal of any game. But the thing with Wuthering Waves is the longer it goes, the more money it's making. It's very rare to find a game like that. And the comparison that I would like to draw is between World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV. World of Warcraft continues to cash out at every single opportunity it has, whereas Final Fantasy is choosing to listen to its players and it's growing every single month. It's a very close comparison, and I think that's very interesting to note. However, I think a lot of people like to doom post off of estimations that really have no backing whatsoever, and I think that should be avoided at all cost.